Got no bullets left. Can fix that. Sure, we actually are broadcasting, I think. Good chat. Let's go. Okie dokie. To make sure we're on. Alright, looks good. Looks good. Alright, kids. Alrighty. Now that I've got my life slightly sorted, I'm just going to pop in here, get some bullets, because apparently the Wild West is quite dangerous and we need bullets.
Well, back at
I should pass on my compliments.
Thought you might have hightailed it yonder.
Before.
Everyone's talking at me. So much is going on, guys. How about we just sit here and we'll collect some stuff. I'll make my... Definitely need to grab my... Can I... What is...
You looking to earn some ready
Don't
money?
remind me in 3 days. How about, to begin with... Yay! Alright.
I'll tell you something. Havelock Appleseed may not be a bastard, but he sure is a son of a bitch, if you get my meaning.
Well, I don't know who this Havelock is, but it sounds like he is a character. And certainly, it's a character that I'm going to be talking about this evening. And hey, Sonny, how you doing? I apologise for the little bit. I'm kind of catching up and making sure all my stuff works, but I see you there. And I missed you too, buddy. I've missed you too. Actually, I'm wondering, how's school going? Actually, how is school going? How's stuff? Right? Let me just jump in here and open my laptop so it actually works. Always a good job. It's always a good start. Please stop sending me notifications.
Hello?
That would be great. You got grounded for 2 months? Controversial question here, Sonny. Was it deserved?
How are you?
Was it deserved? Maybe. Maybe, you reckon? Righto. Well, now that I've got bullets, let me pop up over here so we can start this stream. Right? Let's start this. Hey, Saracen. I'm sorry I left so quickly there before, buddy. I am in a fantastic mood, and my computer just keeps throwing random bloody notifications at me. Oh. Fair enough. Righto. So what you would say, Sonny, is that life's kind of tough, which, yeah, granted, it can be, but maybe or maybe not. Well, maybe deserved, huh? Maybe. Good morning, Joelle. I was literally just in a CTA, guys. Let's just say I'm not in the most happiest of moods. I was quite prickly when I ended that. But let's get this show on the road. If you're new here, g'day. How you going? Name's Miss Kitty Jones, and this is Red Dead Redemption Online. I absolutely... Well, look, this game and I are having a difference of opinion at the moment, so... But normally this is where I would say I absolutely love this game. Now, getting onto it, what we normally do here is a whole bunch of chilled gaming. It's usually the last of the dailies or the most exciting, during which I usually tell a bit of a joke or a bit of a yarn, or you and I, we hang out for a bit, and basically we spend about an hour and a half just chilling. So I'm going to jump straight into listing our dailies for today and going through the plan of which ones I reckon we can do. Then I'm going to let you know about the few featured channels that I do highly recommend for doing dailies. Then we'll jump in. Now, one of these today is I'm pretty stoked as our dailies actually coincide, if you haven't seen the title, Mad Dog Morgan. Mad Dog Morgan. Now, I promised you guys last week, and I have been working on it. Now, this is the very first time I've done a whole lot of research on this guy, and it goes a whole lot bigger than what I thought. So what I've found is that in my attempt this today to tell you about an infamous Australian bushranger, which is the equivalent, it's Australia's versions of the Wild West outlaw. We have bushrangers, and this character, Mad Dog Morgan, he had a number of names, is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm going to start here with a disclaimer this evening, and that is, out of respect to any Australians or First Nations Australians that are watching this, I will be mentioning the names of the deceased. Okay, moving on. Secondly, I am talking about a real-life bushranger, so these stories, while glamorized and slightly romanticized by myself, are in fact of someone who was quite dangerous. So please don't run away and be a bushranger because I make it sound awesome. Or you really like this Mad Dog Morgan. Alright, so in other words, kids, be good to your mum, stay in school, don't do drugs. Alright, let's get this show on the road. First of all, dailies, let's check these out. So in my featured channels, you'll see Hackers Wild West Adventures and, of course, Dirty Ducky. And they are my go-to channels when I want to sort out my dailies. Not only do they list them out, but they'll actually go through how to do your dailies, which is highly important. If you don't know what dailies are located here. They are several challenges put out by the Rockstar developers that allow the players to earn gold each day. So if you play this game every single day, like myself, it's definitely a great way to earn gold. Righto, let's move this on. Let's list these out. So for our generals today, we need to pick 5 black currants, 3 ducks to be skinned, 5 oleander sage to be picked, perfect pelts to be sold, 3 player kills with a revolver in a free roam event. So your free roam events are the events that pop up periodically to every half hour, every hour. Alright, 3 player kills to be player kills with thrown weapons. Thrown weapons in free roam event. Dynamite is considered a thrown weapon, but I think they mostly like to think of your throwing knives, your throwing hatchets, and your tomahawks, sorry. Alright, a Sean Maguire mission is also to be completed today, and that is our general. In our bounty hunters today, we get to do 1 hard or legendary bounty mission. 3 bounties targets are to be photographed alive, which, interesting side note, is that back in these days, literally the times in which Red Dead is considered to be created around that 1800s, around this time, a lot of our bounties were in fact only photographed upon death. There's a lot of still photos in history. A lot of these photos, because photos were expensive, there was new technology at the time. So FYI, a lot of the photos from that time were often posed corpses. Just putting it out there. So there you go. Interesting fact for me to you. Me to you. Good morning, Glasgow Jackson. Hoke me not. I did see you just sneak in there just for a second. So that's pretty awesome. All right, last but not least, 3 more than 1 bounty targets brought in at once, which is pretty self-explanatory. Don't go after your singular bounties. You're going after pairs, gangs. Alright, for our trader, we need to do a special stew. 6 animal large carcasses are to be donated. So carcasses, obviously not skins. And 2 resupply missions to be done. Collectors, we had to do 3 antique alcohol bottles to be found. 1 antique alcohol to be drunk, which I have, of course, already done that because I am a bushranger. And 3 tarot cards to be found. For our moonshiner today, we need to complete 1 special moonshine recipe, $200 made from moonshine sold, and of course 2 moonshine stories completed as well. For our naturalist today, we do 3 grassland, mountain grassland, 3 wetlands, and 2 of these animals should be sedated if you want to trifecta the naturalist. And that is our dailies for today. Now, it's a bit difficult for me to choose the most exciting of these because I have a little bit of a boring story, but I find quite exciting. So take your fashion here to tell you. So I am thinking I will be doing... Dun, dun, dun. I am going to do I'm going to sprinkle my dailies today with a couple of boring ones, just so I can get through the life of Mad Dog Morgan. as I said, Mad Dog Morgan, our Australian bushranger choice for today, just so I can get through it because I do have a bit of material here to refer to, so I get stuff right. But then we'll go from there. All right, but that's our dailies. Like I said, also Dirty Ducky, Hackers Wild West Adventures in my featured channels. If you want any more information in regards to dailies, please check out those channels. Also, you would have seen me messing around with the HUD over here on the left hand side. Now normally when you start this game you start with a map that looks like that. If you've been in here a while, you've hit down and you've expanded it by now so you can see a little bit further. Take note of the icons. I prefer to play in compass only and or with it completely off. Recently I've been trialing with it completely off to test my knowledge, but genuinely compass is the way to go, so I at least know the direction I'm heading. I do know my way around this map. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alrighty. Jedi, good morning. How you doing? It's good to see you here. Jedi, I hope you're in for a story, mate. No jokes today, but I do have... It's a story. It's a romanticised version of an Australian bushranger. So that's where I'm going to start today, kids. I'm going to start with bounties. And we're just going to do them pretty... We're going to start off pretty easy because... Well, we'll leave that one, but I need to get 3 in a photograph and 3 more than 1. So let's check out our bounty board, shall we? It's exciting. Well, fine then. How about I just do that? This looks like it's a difficult one. Oh, my God. The 4 Bettys. These 4 women, Betty Malone, Betty McCrum, Betty Zabrell, and Elizabeth Morton, all known by Betty, 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 and Betty. Betty, Betty, Betty. That British TV show. Anyway, have made their career deceiving, defrauding, duping, swindling, and publicly disgracing respected landowners across the South. They are armed and highly dangerous. Publicly disgracing respected landowners. My word. Right, ladies. This is a little too much sass, you hear? A little too much sass. Let's do this. Let's do this. My mount today is Jasmina, tiny little Arabian. That's where we're going. Wait. Sonny, did you say a joke? Well, hold the horses. Before I get into Daniel Morgan, you told a joke. Let me find that. We'll just scroll up a little bit, and here it is. I'm afraid for the calendar. Its days are numbered. But it's... Alright, Sonny, well done. I do love a good dad joke. I do love it. Sonny, you always seem to remind me what I'm supposed to do next, and that is the chat rules. The chat rules are, I enjoy a whole lot of sass and great dad jokes. So please feel free to pepper any sass towards me. I can take it, I'll also give it, or I'll just ignore it. That's how I roll. But I am going to ask you, keep it respectful with each other. We all come from all sorts of walks of life, so just make sure you keep that in mind with your comments. I don't really tolerate anything impolitical, too heated. This is not a serious, this is just a simple, chilled session for this evening. So, okay, let's move on. First of all, I'm going to look at the map. I'm going to have a look at where these ladies are. Oh, we're in Blackwater. You know what? That's good. That's good. From here to Blackwater will allow me the pleasure to get on with this. So allow me, no, just a second. It's my Wednesday night. I'll grab my wine. Oh my God, that's good wine. I should have started drinking earlier in the evening. I really should have. That is amazing wine. Righto. Are you ready, kids? Are you ready for this? I'm about to tell you the story of Daniel Morgan. Daniel Morgan was an Australian bushranger. I think we've covered that. But he has been described as the most bloodthirsty ruffian that ever took to the bush in Australia, and one of the most determined and bloodthirsty of the colonial freebooters, quote unquote. Many accounts of his activities, particularly in the years after his death, emphasize his brutality and erratic behaviour. Now, we'll be concentrating on this one against the erratic behaviour, but Morgan had many sympathisers and informants in the district in which he carried out his activities. He was, dare I say, an expert bushman with superb horse riding skills. He had a combination of abilities which enabled him to evade capture by the authorities for a significant period of time until he was eventually shot and killed in April 1865 after holding up the station, this is like a large ranch for those of us from the stateside, called Peachilba, located in Victoria. Now, I was able to eventually find a photo of our Mr. Mad Dog Morgan, as he became to be known, or Daniel Morgan, but I knowing that I can't really pop up videos in a live stream, what I did do is I found the best description that was given by one of my favourite characters in the story of Mad Dog Morgan. And that, of course, is of, and let me just find his name, Henry Bayliss. He was a police magistrate, and for those that don't know, that's like a sheriff. Okay, he's pretty important in the justice, a police magistrate. And the description he gave of Mr. Morgan was as follows. 35 years of age. He looked about 35 years old. He was 6 foot high with long black hair, curly at the ends. He had a bushy beard and moustache, brownish colour. He was rather knock-kneed. His nose was wrinkled, but not pockmarked. Had on checked trousers, too short for him because of his height, no doubt. They wore hairy coats and they rode fine grey horses. They carried carbines in buckets. And he's been known by a number of aliases. Now, I am going to go through the aliases really quickly. I'm not going to use most of them. I am going to refer to him to the one name, and that is the name to which he had towards the end of his career. He does have different names. He was known by different things in his younger days, but for consistency, because it became really confusing, I'm going to give you this one. Okay. So, he was known, Mad Dog Morgan, or Daniel Morgan, which was his name, was known by John Smith, Sydney Bill, Warrigal, Dan the Breaker, Down the River Jack, Beardy, Jack Morgan, and most famously, Mad Dog Morgan, or Daniel Morgan. And that's the one that's probably that. So that is an introduction to Mr. Daniel Morgan. Now let me begin in the beginning. Okay, I'm just going to check around. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, we're still going. Where are we going? Dear God, are we taking the long way round? We are taking the long... Guys, you could have told me. You could have told me that we have been taking the ridiculous long way round. Oh, looks like we're in Big Valley. Speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Nazi's in Big Valley today. By the way, she's up here next to Hanging Dogs Ranch. Nearest fast travel will be Strawberries. I appreciate and apologise for interrupting to deliver those messages. Back to the story. All right, we'll speed this up a bit so we can get to these bounty hunters. Right now, young Mr. Morgan. We're going to start. I'm going to give you a little bit of a picture of his time growing up. Now, this is in what we call, it's in the 1800s, particularly the mid-1800s, so the 1850. Now, for those of you who don't know, Australia's history is relatively young. Of course, we had peoples here for a long time, dating back until the dream time. We've also had a number of explorers find Australia, but generally our history starts in 1770 when Captain Cook first breaches our shores and the first processes of colonisation begin, basically. And this is the history we're talking about. So 1770. In that time, if you think 100 years later, in this time, Australia wasn't seen as the beautiful country as it is today. Rich resources, farming, agricultural hub, mineral magnet country. No. Back then, a lot of the idea of Australia was that it was barren, useless, and harsh. Like it genuinely, when the British and everyone looked at it, it was a dumping ground for their least wanted. So from murderers to cutthroats to anyone that was overcrowding prisoners to then, of course, black sheep in the families, anyone and everyone they didn't want was shipped to Australia in that time, basically. So we literally are a nation of convicts. Well, except for the very few that weren't. Am I still going the wrong way? No. Thank God for that. Let's get to Blackwater. Very concerned about this now. Cinematic mode let me down. Just pressing down on the D-pad to make sure. Right. So, now, it's no surprise that Daniel Morgan, okay, he was born John Owen, and he was born to Mary Owen, and we think George Fuller, and these were convict parents, so they came across as convicts, but they've done their serve, and they were more or less released into society. Mary Owen became typically known around the community as the Gypsy, and George Fuller, which we assume is his real dad, he was a costermonger. If you don't know what that is, basically he's a fruit stall owner. He sold fruit and veggies. That's basically what he was. But no one really knows because there are a number of sources citing different fathers. From an early age, though, he was always an introvert. He always, he always enjoyed the animals more. He's found more companionship in his animals. He really wasn't making friends. And if with a mother called the Gypsy, would you? I mean, I don't know. But we were a town of outcasts, so maybe we were. He ended up being raised by a man named John Roberts, along with his mother, and was sent to Catholic school. And basically, he was described, I mean, there's not a lot of information around him there, but he was considered, quote unquote, a ne'er-do-well. And if you've never heard the term ne'er-do-well, it's like a never do well, shortened to a ne'er-do-well. And he was characterized as antisocial, quote unquote, as Jack the Welshman, his dad, Jack Roberts, would say, society had little charm for him. The bush, and solitude were his delight. Alright. It's a lot of talking to get into just the first chapter of this man's life. I promise you it speeds up because I'm just going to come up here and we're going to have a look. He is born of Irish descent as well. So he was come from an Irish convict family. Antisocial. Righto. And he was always just a little bit, I don't know, he was always just a little bit shy. He was a misfit, so to speak. He just didn't fit into society or Catholic school at the time. He had a bit more of a different appeal in life. And he became a little bit of a rat bag, a little rapscallion, so to speak. And by the age of 17, though, because of his love of the bush and his love of animals, he was considered, at the age of 17, quite a young horseman. Like, he was really good with horses. Unfortunately, he also had a tendency not to enjoy the authority. And it was at 17, at least that's around then, he first gained a reputation of thievery, horse thief, cattle thief kind of thing. He used to drove these animals, he used to take them and drive them or ride them long ways and sell them in opposing towns. So he was a naughty little horse thief. This is when he gained notorious names. Like, I think he became known as Bill. This is when he first earned the name Bill the Native. And I know it has nothing to do with his name as Daniel Morgan or Jack Owen, as he was born as. But that's Australia. We like to give you a nickname that's completely irrelevant to what you are. But he got it basically because he was such a good bushman, he was such a good horseman, he was such a good cattleman, he was a pure natural at it. He also used to use this incredible skill to get away. That's, you know, they never caught him, but that's how they figured he got away with all that theft. And it, oh, what am I doing in here? Get out. I got it. Look, I'm trying to focus on this track. Thank you. Getting my own bounties. And it was around this time was his first report. Sorry, guys, I was looking for the bounties. It was around this first time that he first got to run into the law, like proper like. Now, we have what we term squatters, which is the equivalent to farm hands. People that worked on ranches that used to run teams, like foremen, you know? Like you got your, I think they're leading hands, I think you might call them. We called them squatters. They were men that used to work on these stations and run teams to help out farming and things like that. Anyway, he basically he tried to steal a horse. It didn't work out. These squatters decided to track him down, and this isn't their first rodeo. I mean, this kid's could be good in the bush, but so were these guys. And anyway, they ended up tracking him down, and before he escaped into the bush, they shot at him and ended up shooting him in the knee. I think that's when he got his first injury. So at 17, this is his first recorded offence and reported to police at the time. Go back. Let's go back. So cut forward. This is, so he was born in, I think I said 1850. So this is 17 years later, 1830. Oh yeah, 1830. 1847 he's 17. Makes sense. Maths. So then in 1854, a mere 6 years later, he's like 24 years old. This is when he ups his game and his rebel young ways catch up with him. And he is eventually gets his first charges for highway robbery when he stuck up or robbed 2 travelling hawkers. And okay, let me explain. Hawkers are travelling salesmen. They were people of the time that sold household goods, snake oils, you know, anything that's supposed to be good. And they used to travel around to the different stations or different ranches in Australia with all this sort of stuff. And they were called hawkers, basically travelling salesmen with goods. Well, Daniel Morgan, or Jake Owen at the time, Jack Owen, unfortunately he stuck them up. They eventually reported he robbed them, he tied them to a tree, he took their clothes, and apparently they didn't like that, so they reported it, and eventually young Mr. Jake Owen was charged. Now, this is when he first gets in front of the magistrate, and they charge him with highwaymen. So this is when he first begins his career around as the highwayman. And I am getting into the juicy stuff. I know what you're here saying. Yeah, Kitty, hurry this up. But this stuff's important, okay? Just stick with me. Oh, shit. Bugger. Okay. Excuse me, ladies. I gotta get a photo, if you don't mind. I'd rather you... That's a good way.
Get ready for some pain.
Alright, everyone dies. Come here. Why are you running?
No.
Alright, who over here is still alive? You're both supposed to be... Oh, you. Oh, I missed with every single shot. Couldn't even hit the backside of a barn door, apparently. Would you just... Can we just... Right. Ladies, I was in the middle of a story. Okay. Alright, so he's in front of the magistrate courts, right? This is his very first charge. It's the first time he's been caught of anything. And he's up there in front of the magistrates, and they're like, here we charge this young man with highway robbery. Speak your name for the charges to be filed. And literally, this kid sort of looks at the judge and is like, my name, sir. Okay. My name It's Smith. John Smith. And of course, local government and... Did I not kill you? Did you not die before? Just wait a second while I get there. I will kill you. I'm gonna need a wagon. And yeah, so his first lot of charges are filed under the name of John Smith for highway robbery. And thus begins the first of many crimes. Now, needless to say, the penal system in that time was incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. We were a young nation. We had a lot of infrastructure to build. So simple things like stealing a loaf of bread could get you 5 years hard labour. In this particular instance, this young offender got 12 years of hard labour, and those prison years were not kind to him, okay? They were not at all. A bounty wagon? Hey, Laval and Sarah, how you doing? Yes, Joelle, to answer your question just quickly, yes, there was kind of a whole bunch of films back around the 70s when America, it's called Ozploitation. If you do film history or whatever, it's during the period of Ozploitation is when a lot of movies about Australiana were made, but the movie is pretty rough. Like it's cheaply made, but it does have Dennis Hopper in it. So there you go, Dennis Hopper. And hopefully the movie, hopefully my discussion of him goes a lot shorter than the movie. But, I'll pick up Betty. Righto. So, cut 12 years later, I'm not going to fill you in what happens to him in prison, because a whole lot of stuff, but let's just say, as an intelligent man, in such a tough situation, as a young fella, let's just say his first signs of eccentric behaviour occurred. That's when his first signs occurred. Oh my God, am I going to get these in? And, but he was a good kid. Like, how many times do I pick? Oh, this one's Betty Malone. I should remember all their names. He was granted a ticket of leave in 1860. So basically he served 6 years of his 12-year prison. And a ticket of leave is like you're let out on parole for good behaviour. So he's let out on parole for good behaviour, and he's told he's released to the community on the proviso that he goes to work. And he has to work, and then he has to report to his parole officer. Now, these aren't the terms we use. We have completely different ones, but still, for ease of understanding. Unfortunately, it's noted at this particular time, Mr. Daniel Morgan has been noted to saying that each time he went for work, he was knocked back. But in one particular instance, he was made so embarrassed about asking for work and rejected because of his time in prison that he then vowed never to ask for work again, basically. And that's when he decided to pick up and leave and simply not report in, and became, quote unquote, prisoner of the Crown illegally at large, which is a fancy way of saying he's on the lam. He's become a wanted man. And this is where the juicy stuff, can I put her in there, please? Of Mad Dog Morgan truly begins. Now, in this time, on his first time out of evading the law, he commits a number of crimes, and you can definitely look this up later. There's so many, too many, but he is wounded by a couple of people that try and chase him off after a particular property. A guy by the name of Evan Evans. I'm not making this up. His name is Evan Evans, right? And Edmund Bond. Edmund Bond and Evan Evans. They ran him off, and while he stole some stuff, they were chasing him through the bush, and they tracked him all the way down to this incredibly steep embankment. Like, the bush was really tough. And this is where Mad Dog, or Daniel Morgan, starts to get that mysterious legend. Because these men track this man to an area where they can't get in with horses. They physically can't get in themselves. And the best that they can do is they mere wound him. They shoot at him. And they shoot him. But then just like a ghost, this man melts into the background, into the bush, almost disappearing off this incredibly steep cliff-like edge. And they think
I'd see this one alive or dead.
never to be seen. Until the very next time people report seeing or being held up by this man. And he became a highwayman. He used to roam the roads, and he used to rob. And so people started seeing him again. So first of all, here's this man. He's supposedly dead, disappears into the bush, like Aboriginal Dreamtime, pretty gnarly stuff. And here he is, just appearing on random roads, robbing people, one after one. Now, this is where I am interested. These are the stories I'm highlighting today. And that is, after the myths began, I'm going to go through some of my best stories, his hold-ups, to explain why he's named the Mad Dog. So this is where he starts. So, enter Henry Bayliss. Remember him? I mentioned him before. Henry Bayliss. Where's my vehicles? Let me get my life sorted here, guys. Police magistrate at the time had heard of these sort of ongoing crimes, as this rise in violence of this particular gang, these particular ruffians. So he heads out to the town, and he's now become the police magistrate, or AKA sheriff, of a town called Wagga Wagga. And he's on his way out, this new sheriff of Wagga Wagga. And he's on his way out on official business, and then he is stopped in the middle of the day by two rascals, as he put it. He was stopped about midday by two rascals armed with double guns and revolvers. They ordered me to surrender. His life or his money, was the cry. Now, Bayliss responded, like any of us would have responded, by galloping away. He literally floored his horse. He ran as fast as he could. But Morgan, being Morgan, this really top-notch horseman, they galloped for miles. He chased several miles into the bushrangers, eventually caught up to him, and then, upon discovering the identity of their captive, upon discovering that Henry Bayliss, the person that just held up, was in fact the new police magistrate, Daniel Morgan, returned the money and the watch he had previously taken from him. And then instead of tying up Bayliss to a tree like he'd done in previous push-ups, he opted to cut down a telegraph pole, which was virtually the only way they could communicate in those days, to cut the communications between the towns, between Wagga Wagga, where this man was going. So eventually, when Bayliss, he wasn't tied up at all. He was just left to walk back to town. And they cut down the telegraph pole that linked this town with another nearby town. Henry Bayliss, the police magistrate, literally had to walk into Wagga Wagga and then send a telegram around about, like Chinese whispers, to all these different towns, to this major town, Yarana, the name was, to get back up. And it took him the best part of the afternoon, of which, of course, Morgan and his friend had disappeared. That same afternoon that Bayliss was robbed, another man by the name of a Mr. Scott, who happened to be travelling in the same area with sheep, when he too was held up by these two men, and he was robbed of £4, a watch and a ring and a new saddle. And he must have explained to Morgan that the jewellery that he had, the ring and the watch, was of somewhat of importance to him, because Morgan ended up returning the jewellery, the watch and the ring, and made away simply with the money and the saddle. So the alias Jack Morgan, aka Big Morgan, began. his first noted crime. So this is where I'm at. Now I'm going to take a moment, catch up on chat a bit. I have a whole book of the Australian ghost stories. Oh, nice, Pea Shooter, and welcome, and g'day, Laval and Golden. Hey, guys, you're here. Yay! Sorry, guys, you're halfway through. I promise you, you've missed all the boring stuff. We've done the origin story of Mad Dog. Now we're into the different crimes. So from this point out, I am going to... What am I going to do, guys? I got my photos. What did I have to do with the bounties? Do you remember? A hard one. All right, sir. We're going to do a hard one. So now we're going to go through this time with Daniel Morgan and Henry Bayliss, this sheriff, so to speak. Because honestly, if there was ever a nemesis to Mad Dog Morgan, it's police magistrate Henry Bayliss. And these guys have a little tete-a-tete. He was to be the bane of Henry Bayliss's time for a little while. So later that was on the 21st of August when Henry Bayliss was first sort of robbed and he sent for help. Well, the folks from the different town, they came over for the help, and basically Henry Bayliss got to group his little posse, and they're like, you know what? We're going out to the bush. We're going to go find this guy. Enough is enough. So they go out and they ask around to all the different people in there. And lo and behold, if they don't find Morgan's camp, and it's sort of described, it's in like this really dense scrub area, and it's like miles from anywhere, sort of somewhat of a bit of a creek, but it's in the middle of the bush. And these guys are like, well, shit, there's no one here, but they don't know we know. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide here. We're going to stay here until they return. Unfortunately for them, Daniel Morgan, our star, Mad Dog Morgan, being a keen tracker and bushman, had already noticed these policemen about and had realised that they'd set up a bit of a trap. So he then stayed with he had a small gang, I think one other guy at the time, stayed on the outskirts of the camp watching these guys. So if you can imagine, there's the cops in the camp, not knowing that Morgan's there, sitting there thinking they're all that in a bag of chips, waiting for the Daniel Morgan to arrive. And Daniel Morgan, however, is on the outside of his own camp, looking at these guys going, well, I could run, but what's the fun in that, right? What's the fun in that? So, they're sort of sitting there, both of them. I think Morgan was going to just, I don't know what he was going to do truthfully, but he ends up waiting and watching. I think he hoped that they were just going to leave, to be honest. I don't know. But Henry doesn't. And it's sort of cut forward 6 hours later. It becomes that night, midnight. And the men are like, the policemen are a little bit more like, this doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right at all. And they start, you know, when you're in the spooky scrub, they start hearing sounds. And they're sure, like, yeah, something's not right here. And then they start hearing sounds from outside the camp. And so the three policemen in the camp go, righto, enough's enough, we're going to check this out. And they all spread out on the side of the camp to go 3 different ways to check out what's in the brush behind them.
Hey, you.
And as
you know how to handle yourself? Got some work if you want it.
Oh, sir. As Henry Bayliss walks towards them,
See this piece of shit? Thaddeus
he happens to
Walter?
walk directly
Yep,
towards
Thaddeus
the
Walter.
bush in which
Surge of 5 states. I'm
Mad
fixing to
Dog
trade his
Morgan is
head in,
hiding.
Recoup some of the money he swindled out of me at cards. But I ain't stupid. He's got some friends, and his friends got some guns. So
And
you ride with me.
as he gets
I'll
closer,
cut
he
you in.
sees
What
Morgan,
do you
and
say?
then as soon as he sees Morgan, Morgan jumps up
Come
and
on.
fires from the
Who
hip and
says no to
shoots
easy money? Right up
Henry
here if you
Bayliss,
like,
and
or
then
stick
all hell
close.
breaks loose,
Just
right?
keep
Guns
twitching.
are firing everywhere. The 2 other lads are running across the camp. They come
Let's
to
go.
Henry Bayliss, the sheriff's sides, but by this time, Mad Dog Morgan's already slipped into the underbrush and with his friend, you know, they've escaped into the night, and oh, I shot that fairy. Oh, you know what, guys? Excuse me, chat, for just a second. I really don't like to share my bounties. So, and Henry Bayless, the sheriff, gets shot, right? Don't worry, kids. I know he's not fatally wounded, but he is shot in the chest. And unfortunately, or fortunately, where are you? How come your shotgun does more damage than mine? Where? Sir, I don't particularly need good honor. I have a story mission this Friday. I'm so sorry. Thank you. No, thank you. Right. And as he's lying there, Henry Bayless gets the fright of his life, right? This whole plan's gone to shit. And it is said that Henry Bayless later had that same bullet where he was shot. Don't you start from me. Right. Henry Bayless is said to have taken the bullet, which passed through the right side of his chest and out like a clean wound, and encased it in gold and put it on his pocket watch, worn as basically as a gun belt trinket, really. Oh, horse, why would you move now? What's wrong with this horse? Okay. Alright, let's get back here. We'll get back on track. Anyway, I know you all wrote about Sheriff or Police Magistrate Henry Bayless, but he ends up making a full recovery, and he goes back, but not without a loss to Daniel Morgan. His friend at this time was also caught in the crossfire, and I have to pick up the photograph. Duck behind a horse, my friend, when the horse. Yeah, guys, I'm not a good person. I apologise for all those folks out there. I really do. When I get better aim, I will stop shooting at the horses. I promise you. I promise you.
What a day, huh?
And, where are you? Where? Sir? See? No horses were harmed in those 2 shots, guys. Improvement, and that's all we can ask for, okay? Okay. Good stuff. Let me just, I don't think they're going to ride into town, so we'll just load this up. So, Slash Clark, there you go, that's the name. So, Mad Dog Morgan was riding with his friend, and in the exchange of bullets, his friend, Flash Clark, had been severely wounded in this gunfire, and Morgan had to assist him in his escape. And basically, Clark took this man to an isolated location on an outback station where he unfortunately died to his wounds. A decomposed body was found on the run several years later, supposedly wearing a black coat that the Clark had worn on the night of the shooting. As a result of this altercation with Henry Bayless, the New South Wales government, which is pretty much the only government at the time, ended up offering a $200 award to any persons who give such information to lead to the apprehension of the offender. Okay. Why am I riding away from this? I'm always riding in the wrong direction. So, on the morning in November, so we're in the same year, right, but it's closer to November, Daniel Morgan, now on the run, arrived at Gibson's. It's a gentleman by the name of Gibson owned a station called Burrum Buttock Station. And the squatter, Thomas Gibson himself, was absent, but Morgan had made himself comfortable in his Gibson's house by ordering breakfast and sending one of the men, like on the station, to fetch Mr. Gibson's favourite horse. Before then, of course, Mr. Morgan left. But before he left on Mr. Gibson's favourite horse, he had made sure that he went in and changed clothes into Mr. Gibson's clothes and did his hair and had a bit of a bath. And this struck me as odd. Who has the audacity after some kind of shooting like that just to waltz up to the station as though you're somebody and say, all right, people, I'm here to see the owner, Mr. Gibson. I've had a terrible journey. I rather need some refreshments. Please cook me dinner. Allow me access to refresh myself. I will just be borrowing some clothes. And you, young fella, you, go bring me a horse, preferably the best horse in the stable. I will need the best horse in the stable. And kid you not, those guys literally did it. Like they...
That means we can close the books on this one.
He literally rode off that station on the favourite horse and in the clothes of Mr. Gibson. Now, this is not where it ends. Before leaving and changing into clothes, he went into a public house or a pub at the local, gathering where he then had drinks under Mr. Gibson's names and drinking with the patrons before proceeding onto another station where he held up another person and he stole another horse called, he moved on to another station. He then swapped out the horses and he stole another horse called Yulsid. Now, I'm not sure why Yulsid, this horse's name, was important, but apparently it was. But then he then used this horse, Yulsid, to move on to another station, lo and behold, that Mr. Gibson owned again. I wouldn't stop shooting the horses. No need to encourage the outlaws to escape. No, right? Right. Thank you, Saracen. Sorry, guys. Alright. Just going to do a quick daily check here. Where are we up to, kids?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm not... 2 resupply missions. Let's go see if we got a resupply to do.
Good animal there.
Right, back to the story. So this is when Daniel Morgan, or Mad Dog Morgan, he's robbed 2 stations. Now he moves on to the 3rd one, also owned by Mr. Gibson. Okay. Now, in this station, so on this 3rd station, Mr. Gibson was actually here, and he was actually overseeing the shearers. And I don't know if you know what shearing is, but when you have sheep, they get wool. To take the wool off the sheep, you get shearers. You get shear the sheep. So, shearing. So this is where Mr. Gibson, the proprietor, was. He was with these shearing. He was looking after it. And after announcing, of course, Mad Dog Morgan walks in, introduces himself as though he's a friend of Mr. Gibson. And after Mr. Gibson, acknowledges, yes, no, I am Mr. Gibson, Morgan orders the shearers from the shed, and he tells the overseer, Mr. Smith, which was the team leader of the shearers, to prepare for death, as he would not see the morrow's sun. However, the overseer's wife, she pleaded with the bushranger, saying, if you killed him, my husband, you will have to kill me and our child too. You will then have 3 murders to account for. Her pleas, aka guilt trip, worked and successful in saving the team leader's husband at the time. And Morgan then instead took Gibson into the house and made him sign 9 checks. 9 checks of £30 each for each one of the shearers, and one for £95 for Morgan himself, and another of £15 to the man to go to town and get them cashed. In other words, he literally held up the man, said, look, I don't like the way your team leader treats shearers. I think they could be treated better. You will not see the morrow's sun, sir. Wife steps in, pleads her things. He then turns to the proprietor and says, you know what, fine, I won't kill him, but what you're going to do is you're going to pay each one of these guys a bonus, and you're going to do it right now. Write out all these checks, including myself, because I'm doing all the work, guys. I get the most check. Now, you, kid, you can have £15 if you run all of these checks into town, get them cashed, and bring them back out. Which, of course, when the man did depart, he did, in fact, return with the money, Morgan. And then once Morgan had the money, he handed it out to the shearers and then he departed. It was the following morning when Daniel Morgan called on the Stitt brothers at Walla Walla Station, and he helped himself to various articles which struck his fancy. While there, he compelled the proprietor to bring him rum to the wool shed and also treat all the shearers. So he literally held up this other station. Now, to get some highlight on this, you should understand that there was a big gap between the haves and have-nots at the time. Of course I have a delivery. Fine, let's do this.
This is the life.
So often,
Self-sufficient and
labour
second to
was
no
thought
one.
from the
We
have-nots,
are making
which
something
could
of
come
ourselves.
from
Now this might even put a
just
smile
released
on your
convicts
face.
to our
It's
First
time to
Nations
make a sale.
peoples.
I've
In
found
other
some
words, they
buyers
weren't
locally.
always treated
And
really,
not
really
the
well.
highest price, but easy money.
And
I'll take easy
Morgan
over hard any
was
day.
gaining a reputation as a bit of a sympathiser, as someone who didn't like abuse and cruelty, because it was these things that he did. And he literally did. He when he held up this station, the Stitt brothers of Walla Walla Station, he helped himself to all the saddles and anything that struck his fancy, primarily hair pomade and combs and fancy clothes and things like that. But yes, he did compel the proprietor to bring rum to the wool shed and treat all the shearers. Morgan pointedly inquired how the shearers were being treated and then instructed them and let them know. He said, you know what, guys? I got you. I got you. I am always here. I am in the thereabouts. Thereabouts being I'm always around about here somewhere. If you are ever ill-used, you just come find me. You just come find me. 2 days later, after this station, Rob, he then visited Elizabeth Vincent over the Mittagong station, which is like obviously 2 days' ride. And this is where, where am I going, guys? Let me just see the map, because you know I don't have my yellow brick road. Okay. Let's go. So 2 days later, he rides to this next station with Elizabeth and Isaac, I should say. And basically, he was a bit of a paranoid freak, all right? He was like, you know what? You guys are onto me. You guys have been feeding information to the local police. I know you have, because I've been seeing them around. And I've had to do guerrilla tactics to shoot them. And I know it's you. You have been telling me. You've been providing information to the police. Oh, God damn it. Can I not just tell my story in peace? Listen, gentlemen. I will have you know... Okay, you're clearly close enough for me to get the shotgun out. No! Oh, for pity's sake. Well, you little bastards. You know, the day that Rockstar make my NPCs start actually taking the wagon, I'm going to be very, very... And this is why I shoot horses, my friend. Alright, you little coward. Where are you? Oh, you... This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, sir. Right. Now, let me tell him about Mittagong Station. Okay, so he's like, Isaac, you've been telling me about the cops. Isaac is Elizabeth's son, by the way, not her partner. And he accused him of providing information to the police. So Morgan instructed one of the shearers, tie Vincent to a fence post so he can enjoy the spectacle of this place being burnt down. As you do when there's an armed bushranger, someone there, one of the men, as ordered, tied Vincent up, facing the wool shed, and then another, which was ordered to set fire to the wool shed. He started the fire. Morgan himself also then set fire to the station store. Now, I really got to prepare these better because I know that you guys don't understand that these stations are so remote that often, like Bonnie's place, you know, and her Bonnie's, if you've ever played the first one, there's not only a barn, but there's often a general store on these stations. Because what? You know. So, now Morgan, while he's getting the boys to do the wool shed, because that's their main source of business, he decides he's going to burn the store. But not before having some of the food pieces and... Which one are you going to get up? Which one are you going to get up? Not before having some of the food pieces come out and given to the men. Because, you know, he doesn't want them to starve at all. He's quite generous, right? So while the store was burning, he called to one of the men. He said, "Get a bag of flour, as I do not want you to leave you to starve." That's the opposed story. Morgan then rode away, commanding all of the station to remain in place until the following morning when he would return. I kid you not, the next morning, in accordance with his promise, he returned. And then he inspected said shearers as a general would at the division. He then organised breakfast. He ate breakfast when he sat down with Elizabeth
This is a bad time.
and Isaac. Soon after he then departed. As you do. As you do. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine holding up a place and having such reputation that when you say to them, now everyone here stay still, do not move, do not do anything out of the ordinary, I will be back tomorrow and everything should be as it is now. And them actually doing what he said. Yeah. I thought that was fascinating. I thought that was amazing. Good on Mad Dog. Mad Dog, that's unique. Not a lot of villainy would do that, not a lot of bad guys would do that, but he did that. Not to be outdone by that story, as he rides away from this station, he disappears into the bush, so to speak. But just next door, a Mr. Thomas Henty, who had a beautiful Arabian, it said an Arabian entire, which for those days was basically, it was a purebred, right? Went missing. Of course, being bushranger in the area, Morgan was what is going on in life? Moose! Moose! You need to get off that. Please get off that. They all accused Morgan of stealing this horse, right? So, the police constable, as you do, he goes out into the bush, and I don't know how he manages to do it, but he manages to catch up with Morgan, and they have a tete-a-tete, a conversation. A conversation is what this police constable has with this notorious outlaw. To which Mr. Daniel Morgan, when he met this young man, accused him, Ingram, this young police officer, of spreading a report. You are spreading the report that I stole an Arab horse? My word, the effect to much virtuous indignation at the scandal. How dare thee? My reputation. Could you think that was me? I just don't know what this world is coming to. Like, you know what? I'm going to take your horse. I'm going to take your horse. So Morgan steals the police constable's mount. And upon mounting that horse and riding off into the bush, he then also informs the young constable of where Henty's pure Arabian horse may or may not be found. I heard it from a friend. This could be. All right, pea shooter. Night. So literally, this man, Daniel Morgan, he's like the Jack Sparrow of bushrangers. How dare you accuse me of stealing such an Arabian horse? Give me your horse. If you think I'm a horse thief, I will take your horse and I will be a horse thief. By the way, the Arabian's tied up over there on the other side of the thing. Not to be outdone, it is stories like this that he has a number of them. Mad Dog literally gets himself a reputation, and he is both hated and loved in the community. He is hated by the nobility, and because he's not a nice guy, he's literally committing armed robbery. He's also slightly erratic and a little bit crazy, reportedly drunk a lot of the time too, but loved by the shearers and the hard doers because he had this erratic behavior. As I said before, like, oh, you're Henry Bayliss, the police commissioner. Well, my bad, you've got such a terrible job to do. Here, no, here, take your gold. I will not take your money, sir. Take it, be gone. I will, however, take your money, son. You own a property, you do well. And anyway, so I'm going to cut forward another year. So basically, he continues this kind of highway robbery, this kind of erratic robberies where he likes to go to homestead and stations. He will introduce himself. He will then converse with the family over dinner while he steals the pretty clothes and grooms himself and refreshes himself, ordering refreshments also to the shearers and the workers, and then he departs, usually on the best horse he can find, back into the bush. And he's such a good bushman. No one can track him. He just sort of disappears into the scrub. Now,
by this time next year.
that fueled the legend, of course. Probably more likely it was just that it was such sparse and there was nearly none to no authority. If there was a sheriff, he had a whole lot to do. He wasn't about to go bush looking out for one guy that was known to be able to slip, and go hundreds and hundreds of kilometers into the next state. So let's skip forward. In 1864, John, I'm getting ahead of myself. Daniel Morgan literally goes to this one more story. He goes to this new station called Round Hill Station, and it's far away. It's further away from these other ones. There he goes to the there at the homestead. Those present at the homestead was the superintendent Samuel Watson and his wife, an overseer McNeil, and the cattle overseer John McLean, and the son of the neighbouring squatter or team leader foreman John Herritt. And with a revolver in each hand, cocked and capped, Morgan demanded that the liquor supplies, consisting of about 6 bottles of gin, I think, are to be produced. Where is the rum? The rum, where is the rum? Oh, we've only got gin. Well, bring me the gin, basically. And of course, as insisted, the gin is produced. And he insisted then that his captives, this superintendent, his wife and the overseer and the other overseer and his son, we are all going shot for shot. Hey, wait, what? We're going for shot. And needless to say, he and his captives got merrily drunk. Because the more he drank, the more he would tell stories of his, I'm innocent, but if I was a bushranger, this is what I might have done, stories. And so, literally, it was to the extent that most likely all of these people were very much inebriated. Oh, what was I doing? I was doing a resupply.
We're ready to go.
I got to do a resupply, Crips.
My contact has some more supplies for us. Said he'd trade them for a gator skin, if you can arrange that. Just to make it snappy. Sorry, I'm a couple of brandies deep. Hey, one day I'll have to tell you about the 1,000-pound alligator I wrestled. No, it didn't actually happen, but it's a good story.
And I do like a good story. I do like a good story, Crips. God damn it sounds amazing with 1,000-pound. But Crips, let me tell you, because I know you like a good drunkard. This is when they got inebriated, and as they're all drunk, basically, he orders the staff to feed them all one healthy meal. And after ordering this meal to be served to him, he rounded up the station personnel. So all the workers, all the Aboriginals, all the have-nots of this station. And he brings them all into the cattle shed. And he has this meal served to these people. Good morning, Sam. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Huckleberry, mate, g'day. How you doing? And Jeffrey Northern. Yes, g'day. Welcome. Sorry. New here, playing a game, also telling story of Mad Dog Morgan, Australian bushranger, and some of his exploits. I'm not going to go all through all of them because any Australian will tell you there's a lot of them. The man was eccentric at best. He was our own Jack Sparrow of bushrangers, so to speak. But yes, so after he gets all these men completely drunk, he has this massive banquet put out in the cattle shed for all the have-nots in the area. Like, he has everyone in the station. Now, let me just grab my horse. I've got to go hunting. I'm pretty sure I heard Crip say an alligator. Yeah, I heard Crip. Then, of course, he takes himself out like any noble bushranger would. He inspects all the station horses. He finds the finest one, and he's mounted. It was at that time when he's about to leave. I need to find an alligator. I will not find it that way. It's at this time when he's about to leave that the young fella, the overseer's son, starts getting a bit cocky. Now, fair go, he's young and he's drunk. Young, dumb, and full of rum. Just saying. Not making good life decisions. Decides to mouth off to Morgan. And literally, he's like, you know, you're not all that. Like, he starts being a bit of a smartass. And Morgan coolly turns around in his saddle, takes deliberate aim at the young Mr. Watson's head, and fires. Luckily, you thought this was going to be bad, but it is kind of bad. It is bad, because this is where it gets serious for Mr. Morgan. Yeah, luckily, young Mr. Watson actually tries to raise his hand to defend himself, so the bullet literally goes through his hand and it scrapes the side of his face, and it scrapes the side of his head. So it does a really good wound, but it doesn't kill him. It grazes his scalp, basically. At which time, the young Mr. Watson, clearly in a moment of soberness, ran behind the shed, and Morgan, in his fury, fired 2 more shots. One which hit John Harriet's lower leg, which was one of the overseers, shattering the bone in pieces. And then, of course, this is when Morgan goes, oh shit, I didn't mean to shoot you, I meant to shoot that little smartass. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I honestly, I didn't mean to shoot you. And then he immediately takes pity on Mr. Harriet and the bushranger, who seemed to act with all the inconsistency of drunkenness of murder gone mad, swore a fearful oath that he would blow the brains out of every single man on that station if they did not immediately come to Harriet's assistance. He's like, we need any person standing beside you, if you do not get your ass here and help this man whom I've just shot, you're going to die. It's right, I got you, buddy. I got you. I'm going to shoot any man that doesn't come to your aid. And so, of course, I don't know, maybe they dislike the guy or not. Literally, the first person to come to his aid is a Aboriginal fellow who may or may not have been reported to ride with Morgan. I don't know. There are reports of him being a friend. There are reports of him being his offsider. Records are... Look, this is the 1800s. Records aren't completely clear. So, he immediately goes to this man's aid. And Morgan supervises Harriet being made as comfortable as possible. At which point, John McClane, seeing Morgan apparently relenting as if that, he's had his little mad moment, asked him, "Sir, do you mind if I go for a doctor?" Of course, Morgan's like, "Of course, yes. Go to the doctor. Good idea. Young fella jumps on the horse. No, actually, he doesn't jump on a horse. He starts running like he's flooring it. At which point, Morgan goes, "Hold up. That smart-ass little shit. Do you think he's trustworthy? Do you think he's actually going to go get... I don't think he's going to go get the doctor. Kids today, am I right? Kids today. You know what? No. So he changes his mind and he sets out. Now, this is a testament to his bushman crafters. While this kid is literally running for help down the main road to the nearest town, Morgan is able to outpace him. Now, clearly, he's probably on a horse, through the scrub and cuts him off. And he overtook him about 5 or 6 miles, I think, in front of the young fella. I know. I just want to get this right. I'm pretty sure it was 5 or 6 miles. Oh, yeah, 5 or 6 miles. And without even question, like he didn't even ask this kid, not even a yay or a nay. He came close up behind him and he shot him in the back above the hip. He then got off his horse, got the kid, put the kid on the horse, and then walked him back to the station. See, this is where you can see this sort of erratic nature. So, you know, good guy, bad guy, I don't know. Look, I don't like rude kids either. Smart-ass teenagers. Pretty sure I was one, but yeah. Anyway, so he led him back to the station, and they were both then made comfortable, I guess. And it's at this stage that Morgan and his men, both Morgan, the bushranger, and his friends and his men remained there caring for the two until the next morning, and when they departed as they came. As they departed, it was almost uncanny. 5 minutes later, the police roll in. So they literally were there caring for them, and all of a sudden, as they came, they just left, to which the family then see the police coming over the hill. So, just knack. Just lucky, I guess. Just lucky. Now, there is a whole bunch of other stories about this, particularly with his run-in with the police. He kind of played a cat and mouse game with the police. So there's a bit of it. Look, he liked to live his own legend. He was a little bit of a shit when it came to the police. And he didn't have a lot of affection for the authority, as you can imagine. What am I doing here? Where am I going? Oh, the trader's over here. Thanks, guys. Morning, Salty. I've been telling everyone about Mad Dog Morgan. He is a bushranger in Australia. He's quite eccentric. He's best described as the Jack Sparrow of bushrangers. I meant to do that. I really meant to do that. I was just showing my ability that I am not. Fine. It's fine, people. I'm fine. 4 minutes. Holy snap. Too busy talking. Oh. Now, basically Mad Dog Morgan, I'm just going to sum up here a little bit. I'm going to skip over the next stuff because there is a lot of murder here. And look, he did end up he took these sort of kind of pot shots at the local police, like he'd have constables doing their rounds and he would just appear in the bush, or they would see this man and a long, like curly black hair, massive beard, galloping along, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, their pot shot would be taken and their horses would spook and they'd be left, you know, by themselves. And so it became this myth. But unfortunately, one of these days,
help yourself to those supplies.
I will help myself to these supplies. He actually did, in fact, shoot Sergeant David McKinney. He shot the horse David McKinney, the sergeant, was riding. Did spook. It spooked off and into the bush, and it was there where it is believed that John McKinney died of both shotgun wounds, exposure, and the fall from the horse. And unfortunately, he did die 40 years old, leaving behind a wife and 2 kids. Now, the only reason I say that is just to remind you that this man is not a Disney character. Okay, I've said that. I'm moving on. I'm clearly not getting anywhere too quickly. How about we go back to the road? Speaking of drunkety drunk. Nope. Let's go here. Go here. Oh, it's just there. Okay, that works. Now, if you guys don't go the right way, I'm going to shoot you. Oh, good ponies. Good ponies. Not that I've ever shot a horse before. Thank you. I remember going to tell you. So one particular story that I did find out of the myriad, and there are so many of these sort of eccentric behavior of, I deem you worthy to keep your belongings, or run-ins with the police. Like, he literally was having conversations with some of the constables. Others rubbed him the wrong way, and he's like, nah, don't like you. You know what, get off your horse, take off your clothes. You're getting tied to that tree and I want your horse and your belongings. Be great, thank you, adios. And, but there was one particular in I think it was like 19, my God. No. It was 1864, yeah. Two constables were riding through a part of a particular station. I can do this. It's 1 minute. I can do it. Get out of my way, sir. I have 1 minute. I can totally do this. Just gotta concentrate. 1 minute to go. Anyway, they were riding through the station when in the distance they caught sight of a man galloping away from an old hut. And at this stage it was occupied by a particular family, whatever. But this aroused their suspicion. So the police, knowing Morgan was the likely bushranger, was about in the area, thinking it might have been him, the police gave chase. And they engaged in an extended pursuit through the bush onto adjoining stations. Like, they travelled miles, during which Morgan's identity was confirmed. So the guys got close enough to realise it was him, but then they lost him in the bush, and then they got close enough, and they was playing this like cat and mouse game, I honestly do believe. Anyway, at one stage, one of the police officers managed to fire his revolver at Morgan. We don't know that Morgan was, I don't think he was injured, but quite frankly, it was as though he shot a ghost. The bullets never hit him, and Morgan eventually just sort of disappeared into the bush. And so these guys are like, right, well, we did see him running from that hut back there, so we're going to go back to this hut. They go back to this hut to where the woman at this hut, quote unquote, alleged ignorance of Morgan, stating that the man that the police had seen leaving, well, that was a perfect stranger to them. Of course it couldn't be Morgan. I have no idea who you're talking about. What man? What do you mean? There was a stranger here? Who? What? Where? See, this is what this is what I love about this character. He's like a drunk Robin Hood. He's one of my favourite sons, but he does end up killing that businessman. He's making a life of highway robbery. He's stealing horses left, right, and centre. He's living the big life. He's got all these fancy clothes from nearby proprietors, right? He is living his best life, and he's becoming a bit of a celebrity, not celebrity. Like, he's the bane of the police force, but he's also somewhat revered. And anyway, he does. He holds up these people, including two buggies, one belonging to Mr. Manson and his wife from Beechwood, and the other driven by two young men, but we can't remember that. But after robbing the occupants, he then conversed freely for some hours, detailing his various exploits at no great attempt at trying to conceal them. So most of Mad Dog's crimes were ones that he himself confessed to over his period of committing them. So unfortunately, in his grandeur, he was also confessing to some of them. He was giving himself his own rap sheet, because honestly, if he shut his mouth and didn't know anything, he may have got away with bloody murder, but he himself was his own worst enemies. And the last story for this evening, before I literally go into what ended up happening of him and where you can find more information, is his ability to... one of my favourite quirky little stories, outside the White Arabian, outside the dinners for the shearers, was with these two hawkers, or snake oil salesmen. They were travelling in the area, and he heard the commotion on the road, right? And they were talking like, oh yeah, well, we're too well armed. We know that, a lot of highway robbery happens here, but we're all that in a bag of chips. No one will come near us, not even Mad Dog Morgan. Not with these rifles, not with these guns. And they were literally, they're beating their own drum. Morgan hears this. He hears this. So instead of stopping them in broad daylight, he waits till they get up camp. They go to sleep. He sleeps nearby. And he waits till the early hours of the morning. And as he's watching their campsites, and they wake up in the morning, they're starting their first stretches. They're like, okay, we better go unhobble the horses or let the horses loose. He waits for them, and as they are unhobbling their horses, all they heard was this man behind them, this click click of revolvers, and Morgan's there. You know, I could have shot the two of them that night before. If you hadn't been so cocksure of yourself, I probably wouldn't be robbing you today. And I just thought, you cheeky bastard. Like, you cheeky bastard. How? Alright, sunshine, just swag. What kind of swagger is that, lads? We wouldn't be in this predicament. I mean, I could have shot you last night in your sleep, but you wouldn't be being robbed now if you had just kept your mouth shut. Right? How? Just cheeky. All I'm saying is just cheeky. But he was a bit of a madman because there were moments of just lapses in his judgment. I'm going to put it down to alcohol. Like in 1865, he shot a man by the name of John Pender, who literally was just out there feeding his dogs. He was quietly feeding his dogs, reportedly, when he received a shot to the thigh from Morgan's revolver. John Pender, the man that was shot, crawled into his hut, to which Morgan then followed him and told him, shit, mate, I'm so sorry. I thought you were someone else. I'm terribly... actually, I'm real sorry. Look, I'll let the neighbours know. We'll get you some help. I honestly... Case of mistaken identity. Needless to say, John Pender was one of the many witnesses that, was against Morgan at the end, because let's just say he held a grudge. But this is the erratic nature of Red Dead Morgan. Now, I'm going to cut through. There's a whole bunch more stories. He eventually was captured in a display of true bushman style. I mean, you wouldn't be a bushranger if you didn't go down in a blaze of glory, right? So he bails up. He's on one of these robberies. And so he goes to this particular station. He's made a full circle, and he's back at Petchelber Station. And he goes to the station, as he normally does. He walks in with all that in a bag of swagger, and he confines the owners, or the co-owner, so it would be, and his wife, and the household staff, as well as Telford, like a overseer, and two other men. He brings them all together, and he says, right, all into the parlour, all of you, let's go. And he literally, he's, how do I say, he's so confident in his own ability. He's like, right, now that we're here, women, bring the alcohol. And he does, as he normally does, going shot for shot with everyone in the household, including the women. And then he starts on his stories, like, back in my days as a bushranger, I did stuff. He's having a merry time, at which time he then asks the women to start playing the piano, because, it's a festival, right? These people, we should be getting merry, we should be having fun. Now, he doesn't really keep a good eye on his captives, needless to say, because he's like, you, go, we don't need food, go organise food. And lo and behold, these people would go out, they'd organise food and platter and everything, and they'd come back in. But one lady was the nurse at the station, Alice. She was like, this could end really badly. I don't think he's mentally sound. So she's like, look, let me go get the alcohol. Look, I'll go we've got some more rum out the back. He's like, good idea. I like Alice. You, legend. Rum, get it. So she goes out to get this more alcohol, and she lets this young fella know. She's like, okay, I need you to run to the next station. Tell them that there's a man here. He's armed. He's dangerous. We need help. And so this young fella runs off, right? And he runs over to the neighbouring station where the other owner, like the co-owner, another co-owner was. And he's like, sir, there's a stranger at the house. Apparently the women assume he's a bit off. Chinese whispers. The kid doesn't do his job. The guy he tells is like, sounds iffy, doesn't sound good. Let's just see how this goes, right? Let's just wait this out. I'll check it out in a bit. I'll check it out. Let me just think about what I'm going to do. Anyway, Alice comes back, because she does. She comes back with the alcohol, and they're all still getting merry. They're still getting ridiculously drunk. To which she says, oh, can you hear that? Because some time has passed, right? He's got the daughter playing the piano, then the wife is playing the piano, they're eating food, they're getting drunk. You know, you have to pee, so yeah, just go out and relieve yourself. Now, so as I was saying in my bushranger days, so some time goes past and Alice the nurse is kind of getting worried. She's like, I did send for help. Shouldn't there be someone here? Oh my God, what is going on? So she says, the kids, I can hear the baby crying. That's why I'm here. I'm a nurse. Do you mind if I go tend to the baby? He's like, nah, love, Alice, you're a good woman. You're a bloody good nurse. You're good, Alice. Good. Tend to that baby, Alice. Drinks all around. Anyway, it is reported that the lady of the homestead, the lady who owns it, she's like, Alice is taking a little bit of time. Do you mind if I go with her? And he's like, yeah, Alice has been away. I like Alice. Alice, she's good, Alice. I like Alice. Where's Alice? Let's go get Alice. So what had happened is Alice went out the second time, and yeah, she went to check on the kids, fair enough. But then she also ran out to one of the other workers, and she's like, for the love of God, can you know what? It's fine. I'll go next door. I'll explain that Mad Dog Morgan's here in this homestead. He's here robbing us. We could likely die. But before she goes out, because the lady of the homestead followed her, the lady of the homestead loses her shit. She's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Putting my family at risk. This is bullshit. Listen, lady, you work for me. He's just getting drunk. Let him sleep it off. He'll be fine. He'll take a horse. We'll be okay. How dare you put my family at risk? This man has a reputation. But Alice, sticking to her guns, was like, listen, lady, you're about as 3 sheets to the wind as he is. You're not making right life decisions either. So I'm going. You're either going to cover for me or you're not. And if you don't cover for me, you can bet your bottom dollar I know what he's going to think. And so, unfortunately, lady of the property does what the nurse says. So Alice runs out the back of the house and she hightails it to the station over to get the co-owner, and she's there and she's like, it's Mad Dog Morgan. Morgan, you moron. Like, this is the bushranger. This guy has killed police officers. He's robbed the most notable. He no longer has a £200 bounty. No, his bounty's up to £1,000. Do you understand? He's at the home. He's just down there. He's drunk, so he's not in the best state. This is perfect. Will you please help? Would you please help? Please help. The lady of the house obviously returns to Mr. Morgan, gives him another bottle of rum. Another bottle of rum means Morgan's forgotten about Alice. Who the f*** is Alice? No one knows. Right? Cue music. I know what you guys are thinking. Cue music. Good morning, Kath. How you going? Needless to say, on the fact that these guys go, oh, it's Mad Dog Morgan, right, well, you, kid, keep running. Go bring the officers. Bring me my horses. We're going to get the bastards, so to speak. And so this kid runs off, and obviously they wait another couple of hours while the local magistrate's notified, and the young corporal officers are then come to the neighbouring station where they jump in with the co-owner, and they all head over to the station where Mad Dog Morgan is still drinking, because he can drink everyone under the table, but it is reportedly said that he also took power naps, as, you know, if you're good at what you do and you're leaders in the industry, you do little things like power naps. So he reportedly fell asleep at the table, basically, with a gun in his hand and his hand on the table. Though they weren't really sure if he was asleep. They weren't sure. But there were moments they thought. They're like, is he drunk? Is he dead? I don't know. You touch him. No, you touch him. You move. No, you move. Anyway, so it takes the entire night. And the neighbouring station comes over, the co-owner, he's got a few deputies now from the local town with him, and they're like, right, well, he's got hostages, so we can't just run in, can we? No, I don't think that's a good idea, because it's noble women and stuff, so they might have something to say about that. Right, well, in that case, we'll hide outside, and when he goes to leave tomorrow, we'll figure something out. So, they let him sleep it off in the house with the family. And in the morning, Mad Dog Morgan thanks the people for their hospitality, even at forced as it was, packs himself all the things he fancies, including nice t-shirts and stuff, combs his hair, because apparently he really liked looking good. He liked his big bushy beard and his long, dark, curly hair. And he then walks out and says, well, sir, I'm going to borrow a horse. I'm not going to return it. But between you and me, I'm just borrowing the horse. Okay. So he goes out to make the selection, and the property owner, the guys that he had captive, walk out with him. They're like, yeah, okay, the horses, they're over there. Mr. Morgan, we're still a little drunk. And we can't really see. It's like, amateurs. Needless, one of the guys that was his captive realizes he sees the obvious but not obvious but kind of obvious deputies hiding in the bushes. And he's like, Mr. Morgan, I gotta be sick. You don't want to see this. It's gonna be rough, mate. I know you've seen shit, but you don't want to see this. I gotta, who runs off, leaving a clear shot. And as Mr. Morgan looks out over these beautiful pen of horses, he is shot in the back. And he hits the ground. And before he can get up to defend himself, 2 deputies run out of the bushes and scrabble him and bring him down. And they hold him down. It is at this stage they now have Mad Dog Morgan captured. Finally at the end. Unfortunately, the wound that he received, I wrote it down here, kids. I did write it down. He was definitely gravely wounded, but I just wanted to see where it was. It shattered the spine, like it shot him in the back of the spine, and it exited through his throat, gravely wounding him. Morgan was taken to the nearby wool shed, and the detective, the young fellow there with him, who had arrived during the night, interviewed the dying bushranger, including offering him some wine. They offered this man some wine, like, mate, this living legend, here's some wine. The district coroner, who arrived shortly after, apparently he can arrive before the doctor can, but he arrived shortly after, around about noon of that same day, and he basically decided on the spot that medical assistance would be ineffective. And so Morgan was left there to die in the company, which went from about 9 people to begin with. By the time of his passing, there was almost 50 onlookers to witness this man's death. And it is reported that at one stage, Morgan said his right hand was cold, and he was like, my hand is so cold. And supposedly one of the attending deputies, it could have been one of the women, could have been one of the 50 onlookers, apparently held his hand. So by the time of Morgan's death, like I said, in the early afternoon, a crowd of at least 50 onlookers had arrived at the station, and most of them from the nearby areas. And as soon as he died, I kid you not, as soon as this man died, a number of them started cutting the locks from his very luscious curly black hair to keep as keepsakes. Not to be outdone, might I add. Not to be outdone, because the detective at the time was like, come on, guys, that's a bit morbid. Get off him. Get off him. That's enough. Like, this is not cool. This is not cool. They took some photos of the now dead Mad Dog Morgan, and there are photos, including, I saw one on Wikipedia. Now, please be mindful that this man is deceased. As I said, photos of that time were very expensive. It was new technology, so they were often, in cases of villainy, were taken of people upon or after deceased. So they are not living. Okay, now it's not particularly gruesome. It is black and white and grainy, but you can see a photo of this man in a number of sources. So do check it out, because I think he was supposed to have this like hook nose, but after looking at a couple of photos, I can see why he became a bit of a hero. He was rather, for want of a better word, he was this Irish larrikin who hated the law, was just a little eccentric in his way of robbing things. He had this false set of moralities. he was a bit of a larrikin, but he always stood up for the underdog. And to boot, he was relatively handsome for the day. Like, he relatively handsome. And so you can see photos, but on the afternoon, the following, I'm just wrapping up here, literally wrapping up, and then I'm going to jump in and we'll open my posse. We'll do something. I'm going to leave it up to you what we do after the story because I've been speaking for too long. But interesting side note, the coroner, they take him back to town. The coroner of the time literally fillets this man's beard. I don't mean just shear it. I mean he scalped this man's beard, which is apparently then turned into a tobacco patch. And then, of course, someone dissected and took the top part of his head as well. At which stage, the two people that did that were actual officers, and a coroner were kind of suspended because this guy, for all of his wrongdoings, was also a little bit of a local legend, and he was both loved and hated, and the treatment of him after death was considered incredibly immoral and disgusting. So the two men that did it, this coroner and this police officer that was, I don't say the police officer did it, he was just there cooperating with the coroner, I guess, were suspended. But yeah, there's a tobacco pouch out there made of Mad Dog Morgan's chin, apparently, and his hair. And he was also beheaded by the same coroner, and his head was sent to the Melbourne University for study, but Melbourne University at the time said, "What are you doing? This is a decomposed. It's missing the top half. You've flayed it, you monsters. We can't do anything with this. This is bullshit." But there is a lot of information about Mad Dog. He has been a cultural influence. Certainly there's a number of books about him, but yes, the movie that Joao, you mentioned before, was there ever a movie made about him? Yes, a really shitty, crappy movie with Dennis Hopper in it was made about Mad Dog Morgan. Rough. Like, I watched it, but the cutting is really indicative of the 70s, man. You clearly had to be on something when watching that. But look, it did highlight it. The story of this man is much better if you read it and go find the information yourself, because I've literally touched on the iceberg of Mad Dog Morgan. Mad Dog Morgan. Birth of the Gypsy, his mum, and what was his dad's dad? Jack the Welshman. Oh no, Jack the Welshman was his foster dad. It was George Fuller. Yeah, George Fuller was his real dad, the flute salesman. So there you go. That's me wrapping up the full story of Mad Dog Morgan. This is my first attempt of it. I had to go through a plethora of stuff, and I was absolutely captivated. I realized I needed more than a week to delve in this, but I had so much fun finding out about this fellow. I'm going to stop just standing here on screen and talking. I am now going to open my posse. And certainly, Joelle, I would absolutely enjoy it if you jump in and do some dailies. Cap, I know that you'll be streaming very shortly, but if you want to jump in and do this one last daily or two with me, that'd be great. I'm going to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to allow you guys just to jump in. Just to jump in. And Captain Hood, good morning, sweetness. How are you going? Say hello.
If it ain't my
Yes, you
favorite
did,
moonshine.
Captain. You dropped in the conversation of Mad Dog Morgan as a bushranger. I'm actually hoping you guys... Look, I know there's a lot of it to digest. Probably got confusing, but I hope you did enjoy pockets of it. I hope you enjoyed hearing about one of our very own outback bushrangers, the equivalent of your Wild West outlaws, Mad Dog Morgan. I really, really hope you did. Thanks, Jarek. There are so many more to come. I'm actually interested to hear if you've got any that you'd like me to research, because I had too much fun. I had too much fun doing this, actually. I won't say I did it at work, but if you're listening, boss, I may or may not have used the company resources to do stuff. Okay. Good chat. Now that you know, I will use, assuming you're complying. Okay, great. There are so many more to come. I have got a number of bushrangers I'm thinking of, including, I will not forget to do Ned Kelly. A lot of you know who Ned Kelly is, a lot of you don't, but he is the inspiration here in Red Dead behind the bucket heads you guys see. Yes, that was legitimately armour worn by an Australian bushranger, made famous all over the world for his ingenuity. Guys, if you're spawning in, can you guys start a chat for me? That would be absolutely amazing. I'm going to open my posse right now. Am I? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Let me jump out. No worries, Cap. No worries. Speaking of, guys, I will take this time to say, yes, Cap will be streaming. He usually streams directly after me. Please check him out. That man absolutely loves this game. He is a credit to it. He's always fun to watch. He makes me feel better when I get absolutely frustrated by it. You know? So it is good to. He is found in my featured channels. Please check him out. I did leave a link to the movie Mad Dog Morgan in my playlist of movies on my channels. If you wanted to see it, look, I don't recommend it. I don't. The filming is back in the days. We were very young in the film industries at those days. It's not great. It's hard to understand. But it's there if you want to catch it. Dennis Hopper does play our protagonist, Mad Dog Morgan. There are a few other movies made, but that was the only one I could find kind of for free for you guys to watch. I am going to jump off screen for just a second. Righto. Let me just join this party here. Fantastic. Up. Oh, yep. Joelle, Saracen beat you to it, so hopefully Saracen will send you an invite. Should be good. All right, guys. All right. I'm getting a lot of party chats here, so I'm not sure which is going on here. But what we're going to do, you know what? He was a horse thief, wasn't he? Mad Dog Morgan was primarily a horse. Oh, then again, we also have other dailies. We do have some other dailies. 3 or more bought in at once. Oh, of course. Oh my. Exactly what Mad Dog Morgan looks like. Kind of. Known to wear check plants, 6 foot, large bushy beards, curly hair, erratic behaviour, drank a lot, flamboyant and aged, liked pretty things and always combing his hair. You know what, kids? That's exactly right. Thank you, Joao, for representing our Mad Dog Morgan. Straight up. Good job. Good job. Saracen, did you open a party with... Okay. All right, kids, I'm going to be off screen again. This time I'm going to attempt to find a party that actually has these folks in it, which would be great, right? I'm going to join this one. All right. You know what, boys? This is where I'm at. You're either going to come to this chat or not. I'm jumping this chat. I'm not waiting anymore. So, because you guys haven't done your dailies and I have, I'm thinking, there he is. Good morning, Mr. Joao, or good evening. G'day.
Good morning.
So, okay, here we go. All right. I'm
So
assuming
does
that
Mad Dog Morgan dress like this?
Yes,
dress like this or more rude?
He was known to like very nice clothing. He was known to, in the description by Henry Bayliss when they first saw him, was riding fine grey horses dressed in checkered pants, fine clothing, and a man of a big bushy beard. He had a fur coat on. So if you've got one of those, yeah, or fur on the coat. I don't know. It was a bit hard to decipher what actually he was on, but he was quite a stylish man.
Right.
He liked saying nice things. So,
okay.
G'day and welcome, Key. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. And actually, thank you guys for dropping in and hanging out and sticking with me through that story. I had a lot of fun.
It was a great story.
I hope so.
I love stories about outlaws and bush rangers. Right?
Yeah, bush rangers. So in Australia,
bush rangers.
We're also America has an incredibly unique history in the sense of the Wild West. This is where a lot of this romance of the cowboys came from, right? I think you being from Portugal, in the 1800s, I doubt you had guys in big cattle tank hats and balaclavas walking around in their jeans and spurs.
No, 1800 we fought battles,
right?
castles, and everything. Yeah.
You had musketeers and the alike,
Yeah.
highwaymen,
Look,
the Robin Hood of the
okay,
time.
I'm gonna make my TV show analogy. If this was a TV show, Portugal would be Game of Thrones, and you guys be Godless from Netflix.
Yeah,
That's the best way to put it. We are Game of Thrones. Okay, we got knights and swords and yeah,
good
no
stuff.
cowboys.
See, no cowboys. Well, I'm gonna have to start looking at Portuguese then. So you guys had
You should
highwaymen,
look.
though. Highwaymen.
Look, we had fights in the 1300s, so you got a lot of search in front of
Harrison,
you.
are you in the? Oh, you probably are. You not in the posse?
No.
Allow me just to. Okay, there we go.
Hang on.
Let me just open it for a quick second. Now, boys, what would you like to do? I've talked so much. I'd really like it if you guys would carry the rest of my stream through this last bit. That'd be great.
I can talk, but I can talk.
I need
But I
to
don't
get some wine.
but I don't recommend that. I don't want you to get you banned.
True. True. So,
Nah.
no. Oh,
Nah, I can.
what
I
would
can
you
talk,
boys
I
like
can
to
talk.
do? A bounty, a blood money, maybe just a regular free roam mission? I know
Give me
Tammy
one
likes
sec.
to steal horses.
You guys noticed that the daily challenge are currently disabled?
No, they're not.
For you, maybe.
Really?
Yeah,
For me,
daily-
they are currently disabled. What have I done?
What have
What
you
have I
done?
done? I don't know.
You know
Daily
what,
challenges
Chad?
are disabled for me.
You know what, chat? Help me out here. What do you reckon? What would you like to see? Like, we could do a story mission of the Moonshiners kind. We can, of course, do a
Oh, I
blood
like
money
that
mission.
one.
We can do. I don't have another resupply right handy. We could do a legendary bounty, being that there's 3 of us. Oh, Sean, what am I saying? Our very own
Let's do-
outlaw
okay.
Irishman in Red Dead.
Okay. So I vote we do Sean and then we do a moonshine. Since I'm dressed as a moonshiner.
I have been streaming for almost 2 hours, so I really only have the one mission left. But
Oh, okay. Okay.
if
So
you've
let's
got
do
the
Sean.
outfit for Friday, where I won't have a story, like these Bushranger stories,
Okay.
I'm going to keep them only to once a week on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
If you're new here, I stream only twice a week, Wednesday nights and Friday nights for myself. Usually in the morning for you guys. I usually try and keep them relatively short because I know you guys watch them on the replay.
This is my first time here, so yeah.
Well, once a week, I hope to tell a good yarn, a good story from my neck of the woods. Because in many ways, we had similar. When I was saying about the American history is quite unique. Well, Australia had a similar. We had a mesh of characters from that sort of Anglo-European history, but we also really did embrace that kind of colonial, new country sort of thing. So I'm gonna fast travel.
I can help you with that if you. Oh, I came to Manzanita. I thought we were
either
doing
or.
the one in Tall Trees.
Indeed is probably close. So I'm going to keep it only to once a week because I know it's quite a long story. It's quite, yeah. So Friday night's more back to my shenanigans of dad jokes and my attempt to do stuff in brilliant style.
Well, if
Drunk
you want to
shenanigans,
search
I
about
suppose.
us, if you want to search about us, I can give you some tips of what to search, like the
Oh,
most
yeah.
famous periods of history.
For sure.
Since
Like
we are
goes
very
for-
old.
Yeah, that goes for chat. I mean, if there is any particular story from your neck of the woods that's a little close to you that you want me to look at, let me know. Put it down in the comments. Probably put it down in the comments. The live chat for me is not always available after the fact. So if you remember, chuck it in the comments. Honestly, it's my way of bribing you to leave a comment, but that's how I'm going to roll. Okay? Okay.
Leave a like, and drop a comment.
Right?
Yeah.
And I will. I'll go find it. I'll go look for it. I mean, right now I'm still looking for the movie Ford Fairlane for Cap because he did suggest that last stream. Because I love learning. I love learning about and I love chatting with you guys. I mean, I always have an amazing chat. I'm always telling you guys, you're some of the best people in this community, which I have learnt to truly appreciate recently. I've had a run-in with my old bunch of my own fair share of Red Dead outlaws that aren't always quite so nice. So, but I've got a number of them, and some of them even modern day. I think I said I really wanted to go through, and I'm going to clear something up right now. Actually, you know what? I might actually announce that my next stream will be about Rod Ansell. And let me just clear that up, or to the YouTubers out there that think you know something about something but don't really know something. Take it from an Australian. Rod Ansell was the inspiration for Crocodile Dundee. Just because your great-granddaddy or someone you thought you know lived in the outback and hunted crocs, I'm just going to put it out there, they weren't special. Croc hunting was a major industry, as was buffalo hunting. And doing it up in the tropics, you did it in shorts. You may have done it in barefoot because it was hot. It is humid. It is tough. So just because your great-granddaddy did something doesn't mean, officially, on record, Rod Ansell, as interviewed by on a Michael Parkinson, the TV show host, and as recorded by Paul Hogan himself, his antics, his time, that man was the primary inspiration around Crocodile Dundee. They also took liberties of other characters, other people in the area, not taking away from what they did. It was a tough life up in the Territory and North Queensland.
Wait,
But
so you're telling me
I'm going to give you the story of the real Crocodile Dundee. The
Crocodile Dundee is not real?
No, he is.
I thought all the Australians were Paul Hogan.
Most of us are Paul Hogans. If we're not Paul Hogans, we're Margot Robbie or Nicole Kidman's. Take your pick. Honestly, that's... Oh, don't forget the Hugh Jackman.
Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett? Kate Blanchett? Kate Blanchett, yes. Kate Blanchett, yes.
Yeah.
She's a lady.
A lady. Hey, so is Margot Robbie and so is Nicole Kidman.
No,
Blanchett just kicks ass at it.
But, no,
guys,
I don't know, I just resonate more
here?
with Kate
Can
Blanchett.
Can we convince Joelle that Paradise Road, an Australian movie with Kate Blanchett, it is about the war and some of the suffering that happened during it through the Japanese and Australian forces. But we need to convince Joelle here because he thinks he's watched movies and stuff, and he's a Kate Blanchett fan, quote unquote, but has never seen Paradise Road. So for all my Australian friends out there, can you let him know just how moving that movie was? Like,
It will make me
it'll give
cry.
you an appreciation and a respect for your elders who had to fought through those times through World War II. Just saying. Paradise Road.
But it will make me cry, or?
No, it'll give you resilience.
The real question is, will he appreciate the movie, or is he just too busy ogling the actress?
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna add any spoilers here, but she is one hell of a woman, and her regal nature truly does.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, and it shines in that movie. The strength that she portrayed through the actual people, like Paradise Road is loosely based on a true story as well, so keep that in mind when you're watching it. Of the people of that time, it is.
She's a classy lady.
I'm just saying, check it out. Come back to me with what you think. You know what? That
I'm
goes
pretty
for
sure she only.
You little. Good morning, by the way, handsome. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm pretty sure she only drinks wine. Good quality wine. She's very classy.
She's very classy. All right, boys. Blood mission or free roam?
Blood money.
Blood money.
Yeah.
Joel won't succeed anyway. He's been cursed.
I'm cursed.
You seen that hat you wearing?
Yeah.
I'm dead, my friend.
Look, I'm doing business here. I'm doing business here. Oh no, she's cursed. I'm not. That stuff don't get near Portugal.
Oh! Look at this, kids. It's like as though I prepared something before. We have the third installment ready here for the Blue Water contract in our Blood Money missions, guys. If you are new to this game and you have not yet had the opportunity to go through all your Blood Money missions, please, I don't want to ruin anything, but this is my favourite of all the Blood Money missions. The third installment, so close your eyes and go back watch this. There's plenty of videos out there of people doing other ones, but we're going to watch this one. We're going to do this. Come on, Sean.
It's a great one.
It is.
Actually, yesterday I was listening to the singer that give the voice to him.
Deserved it. But listen, there's a
That's a
twist
good
in
blues
this.
singer.
And he has,
Do you remember his name?
yeah, it's oh crap.
Oh, yeah, you
Now you
remember his name.
wait. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. No, I know the name. I know the name.
Cue keyboard sound
It's
while Joao furiously types into Google.
no. It's you got a that catfish name in the middle.
Last I heard, Johnsy was skulking around the gypsy camp.
So he is
I'm sure he'd be thrilled to see you.
Freestone
Had a
Kingfish
little stash of cash
Ingram.
Batali out of
Yeah,
sheer
kingfish.
Freestone
Completely like
Kingfish
catfish.
Ingram.
Try not to
Look,
kill
it's similar.
Johnny.
Okay.
The bullet in that kind of talent.
He has some great tunes. He has some, a mean guitar riffs. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I was listening while I working.
I will admit, after hearing him in these couple of missions, I have actually added a couple of his songs to my playlist as well. I'm a big blues fan.
Yeah.
I love blues and rock and roll and the original, like anything with soul, people. Anything with soul.
And then I go after I finished his musics. I went down on a new wave of blues rabbit hole, and I found some amazing sounds. Some amazing new blues songs. Modern takes, beautiful.
Beautiful. Nice Appaloosa.
Alrighty then. Alright.
We have Saracen in the background there on a faithful Mustang. I'm riding the Arabian, inspired by Mad Dog. I really loved that part where he just, like, how dare you accuse me of stealing a horse? Steal me of a horse? Well, I'll steal your horse. By the way, the horse that I'm indignant in stealing about is tied up over here. It can be found here. Not that I did it. How dare you impute upon my reputation of a nobleman?
I'm gonna name one of my horses Mad Dog Morgan. I love the name. That's a badass name.
What about the gypsy?
You cannot name a horse Gypsy. Rockstar says it's profanity, but they have the breeds Gypsy cobs. But you cannot name the horse Gypsy. So.
Salty, have I told you recently how much I adore you? I always keep a little pebble with me.
I like that.
Dear hazy moon, eyes blind by hazy moon, the soul I sowed was a soul they stole, truth untuned.
Makes you wonder what the poor people are doing, doesn't it? Hey?
I would like to hear the rest of the song.
Wouldn't we all? But my friend, the only chance we get to see Night Folk.
Right. I'm gonna kill the night folks with a machete.
Ooh. I'm going to use...
Yeah.
I'm going to use the shears.
You are? I'm gonna go with the machete. I'm gonna use the Aguila machete. I just bought it at the fence.
Killing the brawlers will result in a loss of honor. Well, thank you. I'm glad we cleared that up.
You said the magic words. You said the magic words. Let's go. Let's go.
People.
Hey, lady. Don't you put you took off my hat, little. Okay. Saracen, can you follow the?
Hey! Don't you, little shit! Stab me.
My hat. I cannot go without my hat.
Diva.
Hey. Some things it has to be done. I lost my hat. Oh no, there it is.
We don't need no sheriff, sir. Sorry, not sorry. I have maximum negative honor. That's what I was going for. Oh my
That
gosh,
is
this
impressive.
guy can run. What are you doing? Oh no, you caught him. You caught him. You caught
Of
him.
course I caught him.
Eventually. A sandwich walked into the bar and asked for a beer, and the waiter said, "I'm sorry, we don't serve food here." Badum. Oh, Sarah. It's like she's got your joke book. Have you noticed? I like the Jingle Bell Rock. I like the Jingle Bell. Speaking of kids, are we not excited about the possibility of a new update or something? I'm not going to say what it is. In about, what, 4 weeks' time? No, 2 weeks' time? Look, in an estimated 2 to 3 weeks' time, we're apparently going to have stuff. New stuff. This is what the hopeful amongst us are thinking.
I think it will be snow.
You think we're just going to get snow for Christmas?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
You
Maybe a
been
new
to Australia
CTA or something. But I don't see anything more coming. Last year they give us the new coats for Turkmens around this time, right?
Do you think? But didn't we get new coats for Turkmens last time, or did we get new coats for Mustangs?
We did. No, it was the Turks. We got first for the Turks. We got the black, the gray, and the red. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, we got the Mustangs and to the spots. Oh shit. Yeah. Well, the snow, I'm pretty sure it's the thing coming.
Okay, next.
The thing is, I think they put too much snow in the game because you got a lot of storms and you can barely see. If they tone it out a bit, like just snow on the floor, and sometimes snow falling, would be perfect. But other than that, yeah.
I think
be careful with the snakes. Be careful with the snakes.
Always make sure someone in the relationship has good credit. That's why it's called significant other. Sign if I can't. I like it. Oh.
Okay. Who's shooting me? Who's shooting me?
You know what? I left the map buried up in the cave.
I got shot. Oh, it's the night folk already here.
Are they there? Have you got the night folk?
I just got one. Look at him.
I can't. There's so much fog going on right now. Excuse me, sir.
Oh, there's 3 more coming. Okay, let me grab my machete.
Okay.
Come here, boys.
Someone is definitely shooting at me.
Yeah, it's arrows. I remember you fools from Story.
Okay, let's get off. Get off. I can see him. I can see him. Why are you in toxic moonshine, my friend? Alright, run.
Don't you touch me. There is. Look at this. Damn. Gone. I remember them scaring the shit out of me in story mode, coming out of nowhere in silence. In the middle of the night.
Alright, let's go to the cave.
Alrighty.
Let's go get this map. They don't look like night folk. Maybe they'll look like night folk when we get closer.
No, but they are night folk. They have the paintings, they are silent. Barefoot. Come on, horse. The first time I encountered nightfolk in game, I was riding here in the swamps, and I saw a dead body hanging in a tree. And as soon as I got closer, just a few of the nightfolks jump out of the bushes to attack me. And I was like, "Oh shit! What is this?"
it was that one of that points where, yeah, I was going to say a significant puckerage happened. I'm like, what the?
Right.
No, no. Okay,
I was
Rockstar.
clueless at the time. Because I didn't know about the Nightfolk. I heard them speak of them, but I was like, okay. I didn't care too much for them. All of a sudden, when I got them jumping out of the woods in the middle of the night, in the
Right?
swamps, it was like,
My
oh no, no.
Certainly my first experience with the night folk was very similar. It was that moment where I just saw a dead hanging body and I'm like walking along the road. I'm like, wait, what up? What's this? And then there's an option
Yeah.
like take it down. I'm like, yeah, okay, righto.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll loot something from
exactly.
this. Maybe it'll lead from something. And then, yeah, next thing I noticed, it was like these guys. I'm like, what? Nope.
Right.
Key here. A cucumber walks into a bar. The bartender says, you got any idea? ID? The cucumber hands him a license. The bartender looks at the picture and goes, nice try, but this is obviously a pickle. But well done, Key. Well played. All right, would you take
They
that
are
man?
on fire.
They
They
are
are
on
on
fire.
fire.
Today.
Right. I cannot tell. I don't have jokes. It's sad.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're just funny in nature, I guess.
It's a bit condescending.
Did you need me to?
It's like
Here.
that's like it's all right. You have a good personality.
Okay, let me rephrase it. No, you're super
You're-
funny, Joao.
Yeah, you are ugly as a mule. You are ugly as a mule, but you have a good personality.
Wait, who's that random? Who's that random? Oh, Saracen.
Oh. Nice job, Saracen. You look like an NPC.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Saracen, you let him go. God damn it, Saracen.
I said to.
You had
You're stepping
one
on a job.
You had one job.
It said to let him go.
Look at this fine figure. Gotta enjoy a talented man.
Right.
Anyway, she wanted to hear the rest of the song.
It was a close
All
one,
right.
Saracen.
Right.
Thank
now,
God you dodged.
No, I've got no map. Where, run! Immediately, don't stop.
Okay, watch the snakes. Watch for the snakes.
Okay, there's snakes there. There's a bunch of snakes
I
there.
I told you. Oh, come here, Nightfall. Come here. I'm gonna execute you.
Wait. Is that one following me?
Yeah, they follow you.
Could you stop? Look, there we go. I've censored it for those censored. Oh, God. Okay, you give me a bit of my own medicine here. No! Come on, I was trying to dodge. No, you bastard. You bastard. No, come here, you little shit. Come here. Shit.
Bugger.
Alright, I got you. Where are the rest of the guys?
I'm executing everyone.
Where are the rest of the guys?
There's one here, coming in front of me. Come here. It is. Look, it's here, behind the tree. Look at him.
Tree?
Woohoo!
No, what tree?
This,
There's no
in front
tree there.
Here, in front of me.
Oh my God. Well.
Kill him.
No, he's just misunderstood.
No, he's not. Look at the paintings. See?
No, look, wrong
Nightfolk.
place, wrong time.
No, this is Nightfolk. Okay, I'm gonna slice him in half, just in case. He came back to life. Okay. 3 more in front of me.
Really?
Hey, you fools! Yeah, with machetes.
Here?
Okay.
Where are you?
Let's fight.
Maybe, in case you've
On
never
your
watched
back,
this-
on your back. On your 6.
God damn it, 6 is still like. Look, where are you? Give me a. Okay. There, I got a Saracen.
See? Only one left. If you want to get him.
Where?
Can you see him? You can see him. Here. There you go. Let's just slice him in half. if you don't come back to life. All right.
You know that's not fair, right? Like, you know what? Next time I'm going to do this mission, I am going to suggest you guys do it without a map. We'll just see how handy you
Okay. No,
are
no, 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 no,
when
no,
you
no, no,
can't
no,
see
no.
them on the map.
Look. Okay, map is off. Map is off. Let's go.
Don't do it after you've killed everyone. That's like,
Hey, there will be more.
I was able
We
to
got
find
16
the bounty.
minutes.
I was able to find the bounty after I turned the map off. Like, pfft, come off it. Come off it.
Okay. I have no map. I have no idea where they are. Where are they, Saracen?
There is none, right?
There is none. I know where the catch
I'm pretty sure that no, they will come back. They will come back.
I don't think so. Apparently there's some money over here. I'm going to go get this stupid money. You know why? Na 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 na. On the road again.
Okay, I'm
Just
gonna
can't
run
wait
there.
to get back out on the road again. Yeah, well,
Oops.
you've been hanging out with me too much, thinking you can outdo gators and stuff. Like, I don't want to say.
I have a machete.
Oh, you son of a.
You're gone. You're gone. And I'm alive. Look at this.
Why, Rockstar? Why are you humiliating me like this? Keys over here. Why did the blonde stare at the orange juice bottle for like 2 hours? Because it said concentrate. But
Is this a bag? This is the bag. Okay, I got the bag.
No, you don't. That's my. Get away. That's my bag.
Oh shit! You have friendly fire on. You could at least warn me.
No one warned Mad Dog Morgan when they shot him in the back.
Right? I know how he feels. Now I know how he feels. Yeah.
Stupid Gators betrayed me. You are my friend, Gators. That's it. I'm going to go beat up Samson soon. Later, maybe.
Oof. Oof. Did you read the joke?
What am I, chopped liver? Did you not listen to me?
No, I was concentrated on killing everyone.
Whatever. That's fine. That's fine. Where is my horse? Why are you running? Why am I running? Jasmina. Come. Let's go.
Can't see nothing for the fog.
Oh, I know. This fog is ridiculous. I found a tree. I'm just going to ride towards the light.
Are you guys still in the swamp?
No. I'm at a pretty picture where I've got flowers and pretty lights and...
Okay. I have no map, I have no idea, but I'm trying to see where you guys are. But I accept the challenge. Riding without a map. Let's do one more.
No.
A quick one. No map.
No. At the end of the day, this is it, ladies and gentlemen, for me. If you do want to see another one, no doubt, I do stream on Friday night as well.
Okay.
I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to absolutely everyone for sticking with me for my story, for tuning in. You guys are amazing. If you liked the story this evening, let me know. If you didn't, also, hey, I'm okay with that. Give me the feedback. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So you let me know. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. As I said, and I've said a couple of times, I stream twice a week on my Wednesday and Friday nights. Outside of that, I think that's about it, kids. That's all she wrote. I would like to thank Joao and Saracen for being here this evening.
You're welcome.
Of course, helping me out with my last and final mission. Let me just hitch my horse up here. I'd also like to say, kids, I do believe that Cap B. Rye will be streaming later on today, if not pretty much soon after me. Please check him out. Please leave him a like. He is my OG. I started out with Cap in one of his first streams. So I owe that man a lot. We all do, if you like what you see here, I guess. He is the reason I'm here. But he's also a lot of fun to watch. So
that concludes our business here.
Yes.
Of Signor Martelli.
Well,
one of my favorites.
Yes. And Blue Water John. So kids, on that, remember, if you can't be good at it, but always be safe, be good, and be you.